First, I want to say that our players and coaches and his administration is excited that we have postseason baseball again here in Charlottesville. That's a great accomplishment in itself, is to be one of the 16 host sites, and we've been fortunate to do that a number of years, and we're excited to be back here and excited that our fans have an opportunity to see our guys play again. We're looking forward to that. Secondly, I'd like to welcome the 3 visiting institutions, Bryant, East Carolina, and William and Mary, who all have earned the right to be here as well. And I know that they will be served with the highest level of hospitality and respect while they're in our community and at our university and in our stadium. And I believe our fans do an excellent job of welcoming these teams in NCAA tournament play. And so we're excited that they're here and looking forward to a great tournament. The tournament field is, I think, very, very outstanding. One of the better as I see across the country from a regional standpoint. Certainly William and Mary is playing very, very hot. I think in the last 3 games, they've scored something like 33 runs and won a championship. East Carolina, we know the kind of program that they have because we've played them a number of times, and certainly they beat us 2 out of 3 in our own ballpark here this year. So we know what they're certainly capable of, and they've got great leadership. And Bryant seems to be, every year you look at them and they're winning a lot of baseball games. I know they're very, very well coached. I know they've got really, really good athletes. So certainly anybody could win this thing. It's going to be an honor for anybody who does come out of this weekend to win it, and we're just looking forward to the opportunity to play tomorrow.
Who will you start tomorrow?
Alec Bettinger will start for us tomorrow. Certainly Alec has pitched in a few different roles for us, 2 different roles for us this year. A starter in the back half of the season, a closer in the first half. And when you have those experiences like he's had, both of them are very, very meaningful. I think you have somebody that has a lot of poise and has the respect of his teammates. So everybody's looking forward to him going out there and giving us a quality start tomorrow.
Brian, Ernie made a ton of big plays as a freshman last year. How has he advanced his game this season?
Well, Ernie Clement has made a huge jump forward from last season. One of the most meaningful for us in our program. Last year you look at his statistics; they're not that impressive, other than he did practically play every day for us. He was very, very clutch for us down the stretch run, and so that shows me the type of person he is and the type of player he is his ability to perform at the most important time, and that was last year in our clutch run at the end of the season. He carried that over and got a lot of confidence from that and carried it into this season. He has been as consistent for us as you could be. Him and Matt Theis both have been tremendous in that area. So he's very athletic, he's versatile, he can play anywhere on the field. And it wouldn't surprise me at some point in his career here he plays shortstop here because he's that athletic and that good of a player, and certainly he's a key guy for us that makes us go.
Coach, if I could ask you to look back for a little bit, that fantastic record through May and up through the ACC tournament. When you guys started that streak at the Miami series, do you guys consider that a turning point in your season? And if so, how did that kind of come about? I know you've talked a lot about the young guys just kind of coming together. Was it partly that, or how do you guys look at that?
Well, I think if you look at our turnaround this year, and it was very similar to a turnaround as last season. Maybe last season was a little bit later. It was a little bit later, but certainly the Miami weekend, going down there to the #1 team in the country and beating them 2 out of 3, we had to be darn near perfect to do that because that's how good Miami is, I think. And we were darn near perfect that weekend. And we pitched really well. We were tough outs at the plate. And, I think part of it was certainly going down there and doing it that weekend. But also, too, is we were at the point in the season where, one, a lot of at-bats had started to pile up for these guys. Somebody like Cam Simmons, that's the first year that had kind of been up and down, and he started to show real consistency and real promise that weekend. I know specifically that weekend, Nate Eichhoff, another first year, had a really good weekend for us as well. And we were starting to, put together a more consistent lineup that weekend, and we were starting to figure out exactly what we needed to do with our pitching, who we needed to pitch in what roles. So, that weekend it really kind of came together for us and kind of carried it on. It started actually the weekend before against North Carolina when we won 2 out of 3. It started to show signs of it, and then certainly we put it together pretty good that weekend and really haven't looked back. I think we've played really great baseball since then, and I thought we even played great baseball down at the ACC tournament.
And you mentioned last year, were the rhythms of this season kind of similar then, when you were kind of struggling to still put things together and find that consistency in the beginning of the year? Was that like, okay, we've been here before?
Yeah. Oh, well, a little bit. I think, for half the ball club who was with us last year, there was no panic in those guys because they had been through it before, and they understand, what has to happen in order to have success at this level. So certainly that was very beneficial to this year's team. That said, last year it was for different reasons. We were so banged up. Injury-wise, position player-wise, Nathan Kirby had went down our number 1 starter went down in the middle of the year. So there were a lot of things going that at that particular time last year, in some crazy way, we were just trying to plow through it really until we could get healthier. And I thought when we did get healthy, if we could keep our head above water and get ourselves in the tournament, that I knew at that time we would be as healthy as we would be all year, and we could have a chance to make a run. This year was a little bit different. We just needed to kind of figure some things out a little bit with what we were doing pitching-wise in our lineup, and fortunately we did. Yeah.
What do you know about their starter powers? Do you have a scouting report? And what do you think about the approach your guys have had at the plate here the last month?
Well, I know they have a lot of confidence in Powers. We faced him here at our stadium in 2014, so we know a little bit about him. Haven't seen him since, but you look at his numbers. I mean, he's got a 3 ERA. So I don't know. Our approach won't change too much. We've been pretty consistent with that throughout the back part of the season, and so. We need to do the little things offensively that allow us to win. And so certainly I know, both teams will be very, very excited. When you go into that first game, there's going to be jitters no matter how many times you've done it. There's going to be excitement. It's something I know our guys are looking forward to, and I'm sure they are as well. And other than that, I don't know too much about them.
Hey, Brian, Ed Miller with the Virginian Pilot down in Norfolk. I wanted to ask you about a guy from our area, Charlie Cody. Got off to a rough start, obviously, with the ankle. Yeah. What has he done to kind of get back into rehab, first of all, and then just to get in the lineup?
Well, Charlie's done a fantastic job. I think Charlie's one of those guys that I talk about that's been a spark plug for us and has changed our lineup. It was unfortunate when he went down with the ankle injury because I thought he was starting to show signs that he was going to really be able to help us. Certainly, he was a highly touted player out of the Chesapeake area and had a tremendous high school career. And Charlie got into himself in a situation last season to where there was a lot of veteran talent on that club, and it was tough to break into, even though he did make contributions. Not so much down the stretch run, but this year I thought that he could help us more. And I think since he's been in our lineup, he's hit 3 home runs. He's driven in some pretty key RBIs and been an important guy for us in that 7-hole. And I still don't think his ankle's right. I think it eventually will be, but I think he's playing tough and he's making some serious contributions for us.
With Nathan Kirby probably as your best example of a guy who bounced back the following year after a rough start in the NCAA tournament. What do you like about Bettinger coming back from his last start against USC last year didn't go so well? Maybe what's different about him? What do you like about him trust-wise?
Well, I like him because he's got a lot of experience. Alec Bettinger has a lot of experience in different roles. Certainly, he started last weekend down at Wake against a very difficult lineup. Alex pitched in a lot of big games for us in his career, and so we have the utmost confidence in him. He's a guy that goes out there and he throws strikes, and he's did some really good things for us. So I think he's the guy to get us off to a good start tomorrow.
Brian, Jeff asked you about Ernie. Guys like him and Hazley and Pavin, second-year guys who've been in the lineup every day, are they basically grizzled veterans by this point going into their second NCAAs?
Well, I think they are. Those second years that have been playing for us every day for 2 full years, Hazley and Clement and Smith and players like that, they've played every day last year. They were integral in our national championship last year, and played every day this year. They're certainly very, very talented. They're great kids. They're competitors. They are most certainly veterans. When you play every day like that and you reach in your second year in college baseball, you have to consider them a veteran because players like that, they're gone after next year. So we look at those players as veteran type of players already.
Assuming that then Connor then follows Alec, depending on the situation.
Yeah.
This weekend.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, it depends.
What success? You've had success in that in the past, where you threw him kind of Kirby off a day. You talk about all the time that it's not just winning game one; it's winning kind of the entire regional.
Right.
How much did that factor into this decision?
Well, I think you got to look at it in its entirety and do what you think is best for your club. And Alex Bettinger is the best for our club. So certainly you take everything into account, and our focus and our attention is absolutely to win tomorrow's game, and we're going to do everything we need to do to put our team in a position to win tomorrow's game, and then we're going to look at the next one after that. But this goes back to an example is when we were in Omaha last year, and what we were going to do with our pitching, and there were a lot of people that couldn't believe what we were doing with it. But you have to look at it in its totality and say what is best to win in advance, and that's going to start tomorrow.
Every year, you have the draft looming for a lot of these guys, and it seems like your kids have handled it well traditionally. Connor Jones, what's been his approach? How has he handled it? And then what do you project for him at the next level?
Well, I think Connor Jones has handled it really, really well. We've seen guys before that have not handled this junior year in the draft very well. And, you look at what he has done and the 11 wins he has and the consistency that he's pitched with, you couldn't say anything but he's handled it like a unselfish teammate, and he's put his team first. And so I'm really, really proud of him for that. As far as his future goes, we'll see. I can speak big picture that I think that, this guy is really talented. I think he's durable. I believe that he has something that you can't teach, and that is to throw a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball that moves a lot. And you can't teach guys that. It's very, very difficult to do, and he can do it, and that, I think, is going to lend itself for him to pitch in this game for a long, long time.
Brian, just out of curiosity, did Derek Casey ever get back to a point where you could have used him this year, or you could if you needed to, or?
Yeah, Derek Casey got to a position probably 2 weeks ago that maybe we could have used him. Now, I say that from a health standpoint, but, I think it really probably would have been a stretch. And so, he hasn't been released by our medical people to do it. Could you have pushed something and put Derek Casey in a compromising position? Yeah, we probably could have. You do that and something happens to that young man, I just would never have been able to live with myself. So, I looked at it as that it wasn't an option because, he came here to get better. He came here to help Virginia win. He came here to eventually realize his baseball dream and move on to the next level and develop here while he was doing it. And I owe him to make the right decision by him. And so.
last draft one for the week, but Theis, we know his skill set.
Yeah.
His durability, how does that attract scouts? How do you think that will play with them?
Well, I'll tell you, I would be very, if I was a professional club, I'd be very attracted to Matt Theis because of what he's done from a durability standpoint. I mean, that guy is lined up every day. He's caught every inning for I don't know how long. I don't know the last inning he's taken off. And he just brings it every day. You know, the bat has been there. It's been there in the last 2 weeks as consistent as it's been all year. And a lot of times you see with fatigue, you see that's something that starts to drop off. You know, and it hasn't for him at all. His energy level is tremendous. That's what you need at the professional level to endure a season as long as it is, and he's got it. You know, he's got something special. He certainly has the hit tool that's, you know, not many people at this level have to his magnitude, but he certainly has something extra that keeps him going every day and drives him to be the best player he can be, and I'd be really attracted to that if I was somebody.